Meghan Markle is once again facing questions about the image she's trying to build, and this time the spotlight has shifted to the kitchen. Her latest television appearance appeared designed to strengthen her reputation as a lifestyle and cooking personality. Instead, it sparked a fresh round of debate over whether the strategy has achieved the exact opposite. The discussion intensified after her guest appearance on MasterChef Australia, an episode filmed during her and Prince Harry's trip earlier this year before finally airing in July. The concept seemed straightforward. Contestants were challenged to create a dish worthy of a duchess, with ingredients such as strawberries and carrots highlighted as inspiration. On paper, it was another opportunity to reinforce the culinary brand Meghan has been carefully developing. But almost immediately, critics began questioning whether the appearance felt less like a celebration of cooking and more like another attempt to reshape public perception. The timing certainly caught attention. Following the mixed reception surrounding With Love, Meghan, many royal watchers viewed the MasterChef appearance as part of a broader effort to reintroduce Meghan as an authority on food, entertaining, and lifestyle. Supporters saw it as a natural extension of her brand. Skeptics, however, argued it looked like another carefully planned public relations move aimed at reviving interest in her business ventures and future media projects. Those doubts only grew louder as online commentators revisited earlier criticisms of her cooking series, questioning whether this latest television appearance truly answered those concerns or simply reignited them. Then another layer of the story emerged. A former producer posted a TikTok video describing Meghan as just a normal human during filming. While intended as a defense, some observers felt the description lacked the glowing praise typically associated with celebrity guest appearances. Rather than ending the speculation, it left room for even more questions about what the atmosphere behind the scenes had actually been like. And according to other reports, that atmosphere may have been far more complicated. Several insiders, speaking anonymously in media reports, claimed Meghan's day on set was anything but routine. They alleged the production team faced an unusually long list of requests before filming even began, with scheduling and logistical expectations requiring significant adjustments. Those accounts portrayed a production working hard to accommodate every detail before the cameras were switched on. None of those claims have been officially confirmed by Meghan or the production. Even so, they quickly fueled discussion because they echoed stories that have surfaced around previous projects and public appearances. For many royal commentators, the issue isn't simply whether any one report is accurate. They argue it's the recurring pattern that's attracting attention. Fairly or unfairly, Meghan often arrives at new projects accompanied by intense scrutiny, meaning every interaction is examined through a much harsher lens than most public figures experience. Some observers believe that dynamic creates tension before she even walks into the room. By the time filming begins, expectations are already high, nerves are already stretched, and even ordinary interactions can be interpreted in dramatically different ways depending on who's telling the story. Others argue that a high-profile guest naturally comes with additional requirements, especially on a major television production. But critics counter that successful guest appearances usually depend on blending into an established team rather than becoming the center of its operations. That difference in perception may have shaped everything that followed. Reports suggested that instead of arriving to build an easy rapport with cast and crew, Meghan was viewed by some as creating a more formal, tightly controlled environment. Whether that impression reflected reality or simply the pressures surrounding such a high-profile visit remains open to debate, but it became one of the biggest talking points after the episode aired. If the reports about the behind-the-scenes atmosphere raised eyebrows, what viewers eventually saw on screen only fueled even more conversation. Some commentators have argued that when advance requests and production logistics are handled through assistants or representatives, a celebrity may hope those discussions remain separate from their personal interactions. But in reality, many people don't make that distinction. Fairly or unfairly, any special arrangements are often associated directly with the person making the appearance. Whether that happened here is impossible to verify from the outside. Yet by the time the episode aired, much of the discussion had already shifted away from the cooking challenge itself and toward Meghan's interactions with the judges and contestants. And that's where many viewers believed something felt off. MasterChef is one of the world's longest-running cooking competitions, with successful versions produced across numerous countries. Celebrity guests regularly step into the kitchen, offer feedback, and blend naturally into the format. Because of that history, some royal commentators viewed the awkwardness they perceived during Meghan's appearance as unusual rather than typical. Several moments prompted debate online. Critics described Meghan's delivery as carefully rehearsed, suggesting she appeared to be balancing two public identities at once, the Duchess on one hand and the lifestyle entrepreneur on the other. Supporters, meanwhile, argued she was simply adjusting to a high-pressure television environment where every expression and every sentence would inevitably be scrutinized. Regardless of where viewers stood, the chemistry became one of the biggest talking points after the episode aired. Then came a question that many felt should have been one of the easiest to answer. During a conversation on the program, Judge Jean Christophe Novelli asked Meghan what her favorite meal was to cook for her family. Rather than naming a specific dish, she responded by saying there were many different tastes to satisfy at home before mentioning broad categories such as grilled fish, grilled meats, and citrus flavors. That answer immediately sparked debate online. For critics, it seemed like a missed opportunity. They argued that someone presenting herself as a lifestyle and entertaining figure might naturally be expected to mention a signature family recipe or a meal with personal meaning. Supporters countered that the question was informal and that not everyone defines home cooking around one particular dish. Still, the exchange quickly became one of the most widely discussed clips from the episode. The conversation also revived criticism of With Love, Meghan, where viewers had previously analyzed her cooking techniques in remarkable detail. Online discussions resurfaced scenes from the series, with critics pointing to everything from knife skills to food preparation as evidence that her culinary credentials were being questioned long before the MasterChef appearance. One example repeatedly circulated involved decorative sandwiches featured on the show. Some viewers argued the assembly looked unnecessarily messy and suggested there were more practical ways to prepare them. Others dismissed the criticism as nitpicking, saying social media had turned ordinary cooking choices into viral controversies simply because Meghan was involved. That's become a familiar pattern. Even seemingly small kitchen moments now generate outsized attention, with supporters and critics reaching completely different conclusions from the same footage. What might pass unnoticed with another television personality often becomes headline material when Meghan is the one standing behind the counter. As the episode continued, the conversation moved beyond the cooking challenge itself and toward a much bigger question. How authentic was Meghan's image as someone passionate about food and family cooking? Critics argued that when people genuinely enjoy preparing meals for their loved ones, they usually have favorite recipes they can describe without hesitation. Whether it's a comforting pasta dish, a family soup recipe, or a meal tied to a special memory, those answers often come naturally because they're connected to everyday life. That's why Meghan's response continued to divide viewers. Some believed her explanation, that she was cooking for people with different tastes, was perfectly reasonable. Others felt it avoided the heart of the question entirely. They argued that most families eventually settle on a handful of meals everyone enjoys, making it surprising that no single dish immediately came to mind during such a high-profile cooking appearance. The discussion quickly spilled onto social media, where every sentence was analyzed from every possible angle. For some critics, the moment reinforced a long-standing perception that Meghan's culinary image is more closely connected to branding than to hands-on experience in the kitchen. Others dismissed that conclusion as speculation, pointing out that a brief television exchange can hardly reveal someone's private family routines. But before that debate had time to settle, the program introduced another unexpected moment. Right in the middle of judging, Meghan received what appeared to be a FaceTime call from Prince Harry. Harry asked whether he had interrupted something important, and the brief exchange was presented as a lighthearted surprise. Yet almost immediately, viewers began questioning how spontaneous the moment really was. Many online commentators suspected the call had been planned in advance as part of the show's production rather than happening by chance. That's hardly unusual in television, where seemingly casual moments are often carefully coordinated. Still, because the interaction was presented so naturally, some viewers felt it came across as overly staged. That perception became another major talking point after the broadcast. The moment also sparked discussion for a different reason. Some royal commentators questioned whether involving Prince Harry actually distracted from Meghan's purpose on the program. If the appearance was intended to strengthen her identity as a lifestyle personality with an interest in food, they argued shifting attention to Harry risked changing the focus of the segment altogether. Others saw it differently, suggesting the cameo simply reflected the couple's public image as a team and added a personal touch for viewers. Whatever the intention, the brief call became one of the most replayed moments from the episode, not because of the cooking, but because audiences couldn't agree on what it was meant to accomplish. That disagreement led to an even larger conversation. Was Meghan invited primarily because of her growing lifestyle brand? Or did her royal profile naturally play a significant role in securing such a high-profile guest appearance? Without knowing the production's decision-making process, there's no definitive answer. But the question itself became central to the online debate surrounding the episode. And that debate soon turned toward the biggest issue of all. MasterChef has built its reputation over many years by welcoming respected chefs, acclaimed restaurateurs, and experienced figures from the culinary world. While the program has occasionally featured well-known personalities from outside professional kitchens, many viewers began asking whether Meghan's background aligned with the expectations typically associated with the role of guest judge. The questions surrounding Meghan's appearance ultimately came down to one issue. Did she bring the kind of expertise viewers typically expect from a MasterChef guest judge? That's where the debate became especially intense. Over the years, the program has welcomed celebrated names from the culinary world, figures whose careers have been built in professional kitchens, best-selling cookbooks, acclaimed restaurants, and decades of food television. That long tradition inevitably led many viewers to compare Meghan's appearance with the credentials of previous guest judges. Supporters argued that modern cooking shows increasingly feature personalities from outside the restaurant industry, particularly those with strong lifestyle brands and broad public recognition. Critics, however, questioned whether Meghan's experience was enough to justify judging contestants on one of television's most respected culinary competitions. Those comparisons only grew louder because of the reaction to her previous lifestyle series. Since launching her food-focused projects, Meghan's cooking techniques, presentation, and kitchen habits have been dissected across social media. Some viewers have criticized everything from food preparation to handling ingredients, while others have defended her by pointing out that lifestyle content isn't necessarily intended to showcase professional chef-level skills. The divide has remained remarkably consistent. For supporters, this was simply another celebrity appearance that became controversial because of the person involved. For critics, it reinforced long-standing doubts about whether Meghan's public image as a lifestyle authority has outpaced her demonstrated experience. Adding Prince Harry's brief appearance into the episode only deepened that discussion. To some viewers, it was a harmless personal moment between husband and wife. To others, it shifted attention away from the cooking itself and reignited questions about whether Meghan's public profile continues to be closely tied to her royal connection rather than her individual ventures. Meanwhile, reports about alleged behind-the-scenes requests continued circulating online. While those accounts have not been publicly confirmed by Meghan or the production, they became part of a broader conversation about how the episode was perceived both on and off camera. When everything was taken together, the reported production stories, the widely discussed interview moments, the FaceTime cameo, and the ongoing debate over her culinary credentials, the appearance left audiences with sharply divided opinions. For some, it was simply another chapter in Meghan Markle's effort to expand her lifestyle brand. For others, it felt like a carefully managed public relations exercise that ultimately raised more questions than it answered. One thing, however, is difficult to dispute. A single guest appearance on MasterChef Australia generated far more discussion than many entire seasons of television, proving once again that few members of the royal family attract as much attention or as much debate as Meghan Markle. What did you make of the episode? Do you think the Prince Harry cameo was a planned television moment or simply a lighthearted addition? And how do you view the ongoing discussion about Meghan's role as a lifestyle personality? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the latest royal headlines, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next update. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.